Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos. And on this video this evening, I'm going to be talking with you guys about Arsenal Football Club, because I've been reading a lot of reports regarding Arsenal today. So as you all know, Arsenal are in search for a new manager. Obviously, because the other week they had sacked Unai Emery after just 18 months in charge, and obviously, Arsenal come out with a couple of reasons why they sacked Unai Emery. Because obviously, the performances and the results were not at the level as required, and that's all basically, didn't meet expectations. Obviously, Arsenal have got Freddie Ljungberg in on a temporary basis at the moment, and that. But obviously, Arsenal and a lot of Arsenal fans and that have got strong reservations about him. And Ljungberg, the job's too big for him at Arsenal. He was a very, very good player for them, but isn't good enough as a manager. Is Ljungberg, so I think he'll ruin his legacy. If he does continue to manage Arsenal. Obviously, he's managed 2 games so far. Arsenal lost to Brighton recently. They drew in Norwich the other week, and all that. But yeah, Ljungberg isn't good enough. So Arsenal, of course, have had, a variety of managers on their agenda who could replace Unai Emery. I think now, according to recent reports anyway, Arsenal are set to announce their new manager this week. He is called Marcelino Garcia Toril. So I think, he's a leading candidate to become Arsenal's next manager. Reports have confirmed today that he has been in London for negotiations, regarding, the managerial role at Arsenal. So I think now he is their primary candidate. I think also Marcelino Garcia Toril has also been linked with the Everton job, because obviously, Everton recently got rid of Marco Silva. I think he was Everton around nearly a year and a half. But, he was the recent manager to be sacked. And Duncan Ferguson, of course, took over at Everton on an interim basis. So obviously, Everton are looking for a permanent manager. But yeah, Marcelino Garcia Toril, what the last club he did manager was Valencia. The last club he did manager was Valencia. I think he was sacked by Valencia earlier on this season. He has managed, a variety of clubs before. He was at Valencia. I think he managed, was it Villarreal? He managed Sevilla. He also managed Racing Santander, and he also, has managed quite a few other clubs. I think he's in his 50s. Obviously, when he was a player, he played as an attacking midfielder, but I don't really know much about Marcelino, to be quite honest with you. But I do believe he'll probably be Arsenal's next manager. But he hasn't only been the manager on Arsenal's agenda. There's been a lot of other managers on Arsenal's agenda, and that, because they haven't been good enough this season. Arsenal, I think, are currently playing West Ham now. Arsenal, haven't won in the league for over 2 months. So I think their last league victory was 1-0 against Bournemouth. So that just indicates how how bad they are doing in that. Obviously, there's been talks of Mauricio Pochettino going to Arsenal. I don't see that happening, so I'm very, very sceptical about that. Don't forget, Pochettino was recently advised by his friend, not to take the Arsenal job, but Mauricio Pochettino does want an immediate return to management, and he's been linked with a lot of clubs. Obviously he's been linked with the move to Man United. He's obviously linked with Arsenal. Obviously, a couple of weeks ago, he held talks with Bayern Munich. I think there's also been talks about him, possibly going to Real Madrid. But I don't think Pochettino, will be managerless for long, because analysing it, Pochettino is a really, really good manager. My only element of concern about Pochettino is that he hasn't won out in terms of silverware. But I think prior to that, very, very good manager, good at developing young players. Is Pochettino. His philosophy is very, very good. And I thought he enjoyed 5 great years with Tottenham. He obviously progressed Tottenham to League Cup finalists for season. He guided them to a couple of third place finishes. He also got them runners up in the Premier League in 2017. And he also progressed them to their first ever Champions League final last season. So you've got to credit, what Mauricio Pochettino did. Don't forget, prior to our game against Tottenham, it did actually reveal that Mauricio Pochettino, wants the job at Manchester United. But overall, anyway, we've been long admirers of Mauricio Pochettino, because we was initially in for Mauricio Pochettino after the sacking of Jose Mourinho in December of last year. He actually, was our primary candidate, but obviously I did reveal a couple of reasons why our preference was Solskjaer over Pochettino on that, because obviously, Solskjaer was a cheaper solution. Solskjaer and that, knows the traditions and that of the football club. And obviously, Solskjaer did really, really well in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. So obviously, we decided to keep Solskjaer, and obviously, we decided to, give him the job on a permanent basis back in March. And obviously at the time we was in for him before anyway, we'd have had to have paid around, £32 million in compensation to recommend Mauricio Pochettino in. But I think now I'm also sceptical about Pochettino coming to Man United. Well, I'm sceptical about any manager at this present time coming to Man United, because I think, we are willing to stick with Solskjaer. Like I've said on my recent videos, I think reflecting on the wins against City and Tottenham, I think a lot of pressure has eased off Mulligan and Solskjaer, so I don't think he's under any pressure at the moment. We do know for the vast majority of this season Solskjaer has been under intense pressure, reflecting on our disastrous start to the season, because we've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for around 30 years. But like I said, I've got to say, 2 very, very good performances, and we didn't expect, to get anything from Tottenham and Man City, because, since Jose Mourinho got recommended into Tottenham, he's done really, really well. He's won 3 games out of 4, and, I didn't expect us, to take anything from Man City. So you've got to say them 2 games have saved his managerial tenure at the club. I think, analysing it, the win against Man City, is Ole Gunnar. I think that game was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's best game so far in his managerial career with Man United, without a shadow of a doubt. But I'm still sceptical about him, being a long-term solution for Man United. But yeah. So yeah, Pochettino's been linked with quite a few jobs. Don't forget, Brendan Rodgers was on Arsenal's agenda, and like I did recently mention, I said I wouldn't mind Brendan Rodgers at Man United, because I think he's a very, very good manager. Obviously, you've had a lot of Arsenal fans demanding Brendan Rodgers in. But obviously it got confirmed earlier on this week, or was it last week, sorry, that Brendan Rodgers has committed his long-term future with Leicester, because he signed a contract extension until the summer of 2025. So obviously it was a 5.5-year deal he signed. But yeah, and also, he has got a pay rise. But Brendan Rodgers has only been at Leicester since February. So overall now he's been at Leicester nearly a year. And you've got to admire, what he's done with Leicester. When Leicester did recommend him in, Brendan Rodgers did initially sign, was it a 3 or a 3.5-year deal worth around, £5 million a year. But reflecting on what he's done, he has been given a new long-term contract, and... But yeah, very, very good manager. With Leicester, I think he's won 18 games out of 27 in the Premier League. He's guided Leicester City to second in the Premier League. So you've got to admire, what he's done. But I think at Leicester City, he's replicated, what he did at Celtic and that, and Liverpool. Because I thought, he enjoyed 3 good years with Celtic. Won quite a few major honours with Celtic. He also enjoyed 1 good season with Liverpool and that. I think before he was at Liverpool, he also enjoyed a great tenure with Swansea. So overall, Brendan Rodgers is a really, really good manager in that. And I thought Leicester, did good recruitment, during the summer and that. But analysing the vast majority of that Leicester team anyway, it isn't Brendan Rodgers' take into account. But Arsenal, did want him now, but obviously he's out of the equation. Obviously, Arsenal, would have had to pay something anyway to recommend him in, because obviously he did initially have 14 million release clause in his contract. But even if he hadn't signed that new long-term contract, I was still very sceptical about Brendan Rodgers leaving Leicester. Obviously, Carlo Ancelotti's been on Arsenal's agenda as well. I think a lot of Arsenal fans have got element of concerns about him. There's also been talks of Mikel Arteta going there. So maybe Mikel Arteta, could reunite with Arsenal, because obviously, he's a former Arsenal player. He's currently now at this present time the coaching assistant at Man City is Mikel Arteta. There's been talks of Vieira going in. Don't forget, there was a lot of speculation the other week regarding Nuno Santo from Wolves. He did initially say that Arsenal had identified Nuno Santo as their primary candidate. I think Nuno Santo is a good manager, taking into account, what he has done with Wolves. He has emulated himself up over the years as Nuno Santo. Obviously he's been at Wolves now quite a few years. Obviously, last season, he progressed Wolves to 7th place, and obviously, with them finishing 7th, they got automatic qualification into the Europa League. Before that, he did guide Wolves to the Championship, so Nuno Santo's done quite well. Obviously, this Wolves is the 4th club he's managing, because obviously before he was at Wolves, he managed Porto, Valencia, and Rio Ave. Massimiliano Allegri, there's still obviously been a lot of speculation going on regarding him. Don't forget, there was talks about him, coming to my club, Manchester United, because he did say not too long ago that he's still interested in taking over at Manchester United. At one point, he was our primary candidate, but I think it's probably more imminent that he would go to Arsenal over Man United, but I don't think he'll go to either. He did say not too long ago that Massimiliano Allegri was learning English in preparation for his potential move, because doesn't really know much about, England, obviously, because he's actually so far spent the entirety of his, managerial career in the Serie A. He also spent the entirety of his playing career in the Serie A, Massimiliano Allegri. Whether he'd do well in the Premier League or not, I do not know. But he's been another manager on Arsenal's agenda. But obviously Arsenal, a lot of Arsenal fans don't only feel as though that, they need a change of management. I think, they want to see a variety of changes at their football club. I think they're demanding Ralstonelli out, who's obviously, Arsenal's head of football. Don't forget, he knows, Nuno Santo's agent, George Mendes, very, very well. I think, they do have some kind of good friendship, between them. I think Arsenal are obviously, unhappy with their board and that, but I think they'll also, respect the board, for what they did, getting rid of Unai Emery. But you've got to say, Unai Emery, was totally a comparison to Arsene Wenger. He was totally comparison to Arsene Wenger and that, because I thought Arsenal, for a lot of years were very, very poor under Arsene Wenger and that, and you can say that Wenger left an average team. Wenger obviously, served 22 years with Arsenal. You can say out of them 22 years, he had a good, 12 or 13 years with them. And then obviously, everything collapsed then, basically. And I think Arsenal, got rid of Arsene Wenger too late. They should have got rid of him at an earlier point. So that's something I think, Arsenal Football Club will regret, But, they are a terrible team and that. And, take into account, they've got pretty decent players in their team of Arsenal, but they're just not playing as a unit and that. So you could have said, Unai Emery, even though he bought some players in that, obviously, he's inherited a pretty decent squad. Arsenal's recruitment hasn't been good enough for several years, just like my club Man United recruitment hasn't been good enough for several years. But Arsenal, got the likes of Kieran Tierney in the summer. I think he's had a few injuries so far as an Arsenal player. Obviously they got Nicolas Pepe. He hasn't performed, to the standards as we all expected from him. Arsenal did pay a substantial amount for him. They paid around, £70 million for him. They also got David Luiz in for £8 million. Obviously, it wasn't Arsenal's first choice, but it was a cheap solution. I think they also didn't they get William Saliba in, but he's being loaned back out to Saint Etienne. So Arsenal's recruitment has definitely now got to improve. But they've got the likes of Aubameyang, Lacazette, and when they're in scintillating form and when they do play together, they do complement each other well, and they are a fantastic partnership. I think a lot of Arsenal fans will also reflect back saying that, they shouldn't have got rid of Alexis Sanchez, because I thought Sanchez, was fantastic for Arsenal. I think he enjoyed I think for the entirety of his Arsenal tenure, he did well. I think he was at Arsenal around, was it 3.5 years or was it 4 years? He was at Arsenal, but he did really, really well. I think a lot of Arsenal fans will say they should have got rid of Ozil instead of Alexis Sanchez. Ozil's been at Arsenal, is it around? I think he's been at Arsenal since 2013, 2014, so he's been there a good 6 years at least now, and he's had quite a lot of problems as an Arsenal player as Mesut Ozil, and also take into account he is aging up. But Sanchez was very, very poor when he came to us, and he didn't replicate at Man United what he did with Arsenal. He was very, very poor for us and that, and I'm glad we did get rid of him, and obviously now he's on loan with Inter Milan, but deep down he's still a very, very good player. Don't forget Sanchez, when he was younger, played under Pep Guardiola's guidance, so played under one of the best managers in the world. Arsenal have got the likes of Guendouzi, they've got Xhaka, he's had a few issues this season, especially, regarding the captaincy. So yeah, they do need to see a variety of changes at their football club. Definitely, I think Arsenal are in a similar sort of situation, to what we're in and that. But we've rejuvenated ourselves recently. Obviously, I think it could still be between us or Arsenal for the Europa League this season. I've got to be honest. So I think probably another English team could win it this season. Obviously, Chelsea won it last season. They comfortably beat Arsenal by 4 goals to 1. Yeah, so that's the latest news basically, regarding Marcelino Garcia Torrell. He's now the favourite, to take over Arsenal. I do expect Arsenal to announce it this week, so I don't think he'll go to Everton. I think it's more imminent, that Marcelino will go to Arsenal. Like I said, some more videos will be coming up tomorrow, regarding my club, Man United, and that. Obviously, we have got Alkmaar coming up in the Europa League. That is on Thursday, 8 o'clock. It's our final game of the Europa League, by the way. It doesn't matter what happens, as you all know, we're already in. We're already into the knockout stages of the competition. And like I recently mentioned, I think it's our only route to Champions League football this season. Champions League football, for next season is, progressing in the Europa League. But like I said, I still believe, we are good enough to win it. Solskjaer will make a lot of alterations in the squad, from the 2-1 win against Man City yesterday. I think, he'll go with a lot of the youngsters against, Alkmaar. Take into account as well, it is a meaningless game. I think he could go with a similar team, to what he did do against FC Astana in our last Europa League game. And that in total, in that particular game, Solskjaer had given 7 debuts out, didn't he? But yeah, the good thing is, we are into the knockout stages of the group. Then obviously, after Alkmaar, we do go up against Everton. So obviously, that's another game we should be winning. But reflect on them too. I know, it's good. It was a good result against City and Tottenham, but I still said, it still doesn't really change my perception regarding Solskjaer. If we was to keep this good of a form until at least, March or until the end of the season, then my perceptions, would maybe start, to change, regarding him. But like I said, a good result or a good couple of results, doesn't really change much. But you can say if we'd have lost to City, if we'd have lost to Tottenham, even if we'd have drawn them, I presume probably Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have been sacked by now. I can definitely assure that. Solskjaer even admitted prior to the Tottenham game that he'd come out and told our players that if we'd have if we don't beat them two, obviously, he said, he would have been sacked. So he did admit that, But yeah, so that's everything to update you today, guys. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very soon. Thanks for watching.